That is discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Let's fucking do this. Then do it. Do it 100% because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion, become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
God bless America, y'all. All right. Welcome back to the Coaches Show, the podcast where we break down the game inside the game. That's right. The strategy, mindset, leadership that drive championship paintball. I'm Mike Bianca, coach of San Diego Dynasty, and with me as always is my friend and co-host Ryan Gray, coach of Red Legion. This is episode 88. My gosh, we've made it. Today, we've got a very special guest, Coach Ryan Brand of San Antonio X Factor. Fresh off what I would call a storied run at the 2025 NXL Lone Star Open, Ryan and his squad battled all the way to the finals in one of the most intense matchups of the season against Edmonton Impact. Now, we're going to break it all down from the game plans and adjustments to the emotional highs and the critical moments that define the finals, right? Ryan will share his insight into what it takes to lead a team through the biggest stages in the sport and how X Factor continues to set the standard for professionalism and performance in modern paintball. So strap in. This is going to be a deep dive into championship level coaching only here on the Coaches Show. All right. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Maxt Sportswear. Get with Charles for 2026 deals and sponsorship information. And of course, BKI, best knowledge in paintball, where the smart players are getting smarter. I like that one. That's a good one. All right. On a personal note, hey, hit the GoFundMe up for Dylan Rizzardo of Royal City Sea Dogs. He's a friend of mine. I think if you guys have ever met him, he'd be a friend of yours. Anything helps in the fight for this young man's life. Please, if you can give. It's important to Dylan and to Ryan and I. We really want to make sure that Dylan is good to go, right? All right, man. Mr. Rizzardo. All right. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. I apologize. Ryan, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Man, I'm wonderful, dude. Yeah, man, we talked about Dylan last week, talking about the fight he's in. So it's just our community is amazing, right? Yes. And when things like this are going on, and it's important that we help to support those. I got a message from Dylan after we talked about it on the show last week, and he's like, hey, every time people are talking about it and I feel all this support and love, like it just helps to give me, energy and motivation to continue the fight. So yeah, it's a big deal. So if you can jump into that GoFundMe, be helpful, be responsible.
There it is. Right.
Be responsible for your community. Yeah. So I love when we have Ryan Brand on, right? Like it doesn't happen often enough, but Ryan is just a wealth of knowledge. He's been a coach I've kind of looked up to even at times. Like he's an incredibly intelligent coach, does a great job. I love his pocket plays. We're going to talk a little bit about that. He's always got a couple in his pocket that he's holding on to for special times throughout an event. I love these episodes when we have Ryan on. He's he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no,
he's one of my favorites.
I don't think any coach coming up through the ranks, or myself included, hasn't looked to Ryan Brand as an example, right? Or as one of those people you aspire to be like, right? I wish I had his hair, but at the same time, Ryan is one of those what I call academic coaches, right? And
totally.
When you think about it, we talk about different ways of how to say certain things. And Ryan just has a process and a way of putting things into detail that I greatly appreciate. So huge fan. Like you, I'm really excited to dive into this match. I have a lot of questions. And of course, you guys in the chat, please sign off, jump in and let's ask, get in there. Let's mix it up. Let's ask, you can ask some questions as well. Before we go on any further about Mr. Brand and San Antonio's X Factor's performance in Dallas, did we want to talk tonight about World Cup's Coaches Show Clinic? Is it greenlit? Are we official?
We're as official as we can be until you tell me we're good. Yeah.
All
So a lot of you guys have been asking several, while I was in Europe, I had several coaches ask me if we're going to be doing a clinic at World Cup. The plan is to do a coaches clinic at World Cup. It will be focused and driven kind of around the off-season things that teams are going to experience and need to be focused on. We'll talk about player development, KPIs, creating, the right kind of fitness plan for your players, how to keep them engaged, motivated, all those kind of things. But as of now, I'm just waiting on, that guy to tell me that we can do it. Cause we're going to do it it's going to be Thursday morning at 8:00 in the morning. If we're going to do it. The reason for that is we want you guys to have the ability to get in on your flights, right? Which hopefully you're coming in on Wednesday, get in on your flights, have an opportunity to kind of get settled. And then we'll see you kind of first thing Thursday morning. So, hopefully that time is better for everybody than like last year. We tried to do it at Wednesday at 10 and that did not work well. So this year, Thursday, 8 a.m. if Mike Bianca says we're going to do it.
To explain, I'll probably be scouting a little bit, but I might not have to. So I'm just going to work through that with my staff and go through that and see what we can do. And then I'll have an answer here before next week's show, obviously. So.
Yeah, Rob G says Ryan B can ball too. Yeah, Ryan Bryant can play.
Yeah, he can
Ryan
play.
Bryant, he can play.
Yeah.
He can play.
I think most coaches, and that's a good point, right? I think whereas not every coach has been a professional player, and I don't think it's a necessity, but you certainly need to be a player, right? You should have played the game and understand and been around it, right? So, and it certainly doesn't hurt to have Ryan's skill set. So,
yeah, I got to play this weekend. You got to play this weekend. I would pull that thing up here and get it a little closer to the camera so you guys could see it. I got to shoot one of our Red Legion DSR Plus Pros. It's ridiculous. If you're here in Oklahoma and you want to buy it, it's $1,000. It's used, but it comes with both the barrel backs and it's been completely redone except for me shooting 8 pods through it this weekend. So,
yeah. Oh, and check out Field 1 too.
Yes. Yeah.
We got a kind of special going on right now. I'm not sure if I'm
you need to talk about too. I put it out there. Is the Champions Club still open?
It was closed I think it closed tonight, honestly.
Okay.
But if you purchase, I think the thing right now is if you purchase a Dragon or a Field 1 Force from Dynasty or Field 1, I think we're going to give you a month's Champions Club membership. So,
cool.
Yeah. So
that's good. That's awesome. Yeah. So that's another thing though that we're going to talk about tonight. Ryan Brand literally flew in from the ICPL today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the ICPL kind of before we jump into all the X Factor things. But let's kind of set the stage for Ryan a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kind of maybe the boring things that Ryan may not want to dig into too much, just simply because, his team. So X Factor has predominantly been a top 4 or 5 team kind of year over year. Yeah.
Yes.
So this season, X Factor was 10th place, 6th place, 4th place, and now making it all the way to the championship game and finishing in 2nd place. So obviously tearing in the right direction, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Leveling up every time. They've had some tough losses. They the first event of the year, they bump up against Uprising, who's literally playing with the chip on their shoulder at that event. They dropped that game 3-2 really tight. Then they bump up against Paintball Fit in Atlantic City, get mercy ruled 7-1, which, by the way, Paintball Fit had mercy ruled their first game against an AC Diesel that was playing well.
Right.
They get mercy ruled by them. Then Paintball Fit goes on to win the event. Then at the Midwest Open, they play Red Legion. They lose that game 5-3. And again, Red Legion goes on to win the event. Now at this event, they really in my opinion, played with a little more poise. And what I mean by that is, especially like when they played us, they really did a good job absorbing our attack and then picking on guys playing 2-on-1 with our guys in the back. They did even down bodies. They were completely composed. They did a fantastic job. I think some of their new pickups are going to be really helpful throughout the rest of the, going into World Cup. I don't know if those guys will stick around in the offseason. I hope they do. Yeah, I kind of mentioned this when we saw the pickup of Silos and
Nico.
Nico Hyde. We saw kind of, I mentioned, Cody Bayless has done a great job for them on the Dorito side. He's been absolutely fantastic. But it seemed like time to time, maybe Cody was a little tired. He was literally running back to back points over there. I know kind of Meter went that way some at the Midwest Open, but it seemed like Cody was carrying the lion's share of the spins over there, and I really think he needed some help.
Right.
And I kind of mentioned with Silos coming in, now you've got a guy who likes to play the tempo that X Factor plays. And then on the flip side of that, you got Nico Hyde, who loves to play up tempo, right? Nico wants to go. So I think they've done a great job. Ryan has done a fantastic job picking up a couple of guys to kind of shore up that Dorito side. Obviously, they have two of the best, snake 1-2 punches in the game with Billy Bernacchi and Archie Montemayor. And then foundationally with TJ Danner, Fuzzy Jackson, and Meter, they're just very, very well-rounded. Now adding those guys, in my opinion, they completed the circle.
Right. Two comments. One, don't forget about Colt. I felt Colt was
absolutely
just he was a monster at this event. He's always a monster, but I also want to add that, you talked about tempo, and this is something I think you and I had talked about in the green room about wanting to talk to Ryan Brand. You and I felt that their tempo has shifted a little bit this season, and that's certainly something. And I think, to your point, yes, this lends another gear, right? And I think that's really important when you talk about most coaches need to be, obviously you want to use the tools that are provided to you, but having tools that can shift gears like that and go from whatever tempo or pace, even in the same match, right? And we saw that out of X Factor at this event, right? We saw that kind of slow grind, and all of a sudden we saw the boom, the quick read offense and the attack. So a good gear shift, but at the same time, it's like that mid game shift, hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah, like the counter, right?
Right.
It's like, we talked about it before we played them at the last event. We played them in like I mentioned, in the Midwest Open, and we felt like we had a really good game plan. We felt like we had a really good game plan going in, to our match with them at the last event. I mean, the 3 points that they won, we're up bodies.
Right.
We're up bodies. And like I said, they just did a fantastic job really mitigating kind of our attack and then shooting guys out playing 2-on-1, right? Sneaking shots in from weird places. They played exceptionally well, but I agree with you. It doesn't seem like if they don't go quickly somewhere off the break, like we'll watch in the match, there's really not a lot of attack other than Billy, right? It seems like Billy's always kind of he wants to go, he wants to attack, but other than that, it just doesn't seem like I shouldn't say that. Colt Roberts does.
Colt Roberts
loves to attack.
Right.
And the reason I didn't talk about Colt when I was talking about the specialists is because Colt, in my opinion, is like a Swiss Army knife.
100%. 100%.
He can go be the second guy in the snake. He can go be your wrecking ball in the middle of the field. He can be your first or second guy down the Dorito side and do it as good as the best guy on the team doing it. Right.
He's your plug and play.
Yeah. Like I think Colt played 4 or 5 different spots off the break at this on this layout.
Right.
I thought Colt was really, really good. Really good.
So I agree. It's also interesting, with Silos has added that kind of aggression over there on the Dorito side. You're starting to see a multi-pronged attack, which is going to be just make them that much more dangerous. So, like you said, game plans and setups for this particular. let's use Dynasty as an example. Dynasty, we knew how to play the field. We knew the setups we wanted, right? But we weren't executing well, right? And so there's aspects that I want to talk to Ryan about as well regarding that. And something else you made that comment about, that kind of that attack and then the stall out. You made the comment about how they would sit there and go down bodies and then dink people out. You actually see a little bit of that in this match where they actually hold for a good 2.5 minutes smartly, right? Yeah. And they did that by making TJ Janner makes a good shift. They know the situation, right? And they just sit there and start dumping paint in the lanes, and it was smart. So
yeah, when we jump into the match, we'll talk about this because it does look like Impact X Factor at X Factor. Right? That's X Factor's up bodies a few of these points and it really should have won them. And then, Impact again kind of absorbs the aggression and then starts dinking guys out.
That was the bane of Dynasty's existence at this last event. That's for sure.
But X Factor did that to every team kind of all weekend. They did such a good job kind of isolating guys and then playing two on one with those guys in the back. They did a really, really good job. And then again, like sneaking shots into the back players from kind of weird space. It was they did a really good job. Great game plans all the way around. So yeah, let's bring Ryan in. Let's bring Ryan in. We'll jump into the preliminary rounds. Oh, sorry. Yep.
Hey.
Welcome.
How's it going, guys?
Going well,
good, man. How are you?
Doing good. I had coming back from the 10-man over the weekend. I had a canceled flight that 4-hour delay that turned into a cancellation at 2 a.m. So running on a little bit of fumes, but I'm here. I'm here for it.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Well, before we kind of dive into the stuff from the last event, talk about the ICPL a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a good event. It was a lower turnout. Maybe at the time of the year, being so close to Cup, maybe because the series, as Aftershock, we had it pretty much locked up going into it because they weren't doing double points this year. I think we had to finish 5th or something like that. But it was good. It was very competitive. The finals turned out to be us, Smoke, and Image. The upsets were Farside not making it, who Farside was tied for second in the series, and Infamous also, who had struggled for the most of this year. They loaded up a really strong roster, but then they continued to struggle. So it was a bit of they just had some bad luck, major penalties, just had one game against us. They were about to win and 2 players shot each other. It's just simultaneously. So just some craziness. So Infamous, it was not their weekend. And then in the finals, it was not our weekend. We had a situation in the first match against Image. We all beat each other, but Smoke beat Image. And then we're playing Image. And they do have, I believe, a 1 body advantage on us, 1 or 2. So they're doing well. And they have a player, and Rainey had ran up, and you can go on whatever Rainey's all-access paintball, his meta glasses. He's got the start at this point where he runs up the center and kind of sets a trap for Image to come through, and he's just staying there. And a player comes really close to Rainey, and I spot him, and I yell at Dixon that he's right there. He's 5 feet away. Go get him, Dixon. And Dixon goes to get him, and Rainey, he flashes, and Rainey just squeezes 1 ball. He goes, oh! And shoots Dixon in the ribs right before Dixon shoots him, which earns us a major penalty and earns Image a win with 5 bodies alive. And so Smoke could beat Image with 5 alive. Image should beat us with 5 alive. And so now we're going to play Smoke, where we need to be 5 alive to win the tournament because we were the number 1 seed in the prelims. We'd all be tied. Breakout, shoot 1 off the break. Cody Schmidt comes our side. I run through, bunker him. I survived that chaos, and we're in a pretty good situation. And then on the other side of the field, it's just absolute chaos. The bodies exchanging everywhere. And in the aftermath of it all, Hosky gets a major, and when all the dust settles, it turns out we count the box and we are in a 5-on-2. We have the advantage. So if we're able to close out the remaining 2 players without losing anybody, we win the tournament. Smoke, they hid a landmine, and Gerald went through and spotted Luke Staley, bunkered him. I guess I was on the field, so that's how it was explained to me. Maybe had the drop on him, maybe not. Luke did a good job of squeezing a ball off and gets Gerald. So we wound up finishing the game 4 alive, 1 body short of winning the tournament.
Oh.
So it was that close. Yeah, that close.
Yeah, I saw that it was like 1 point, maybe, and 2 points.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if we would have, if Luke doesn't get a ball on Gerald, then we would all have been tied, 3-way tie, exactly. 95s for everybody. And then at that point, it would have gone to us. But instead,
It would have gone to seeding, right? So
Luke did a good job, get that ball off, and they got it. So good for them. Good for Smoke. They played good all weekend. The only team to beat them. We beat them twice, once in the prelims, once in the finals, and they went undefeated throughout the rest of it. So a great showing for Smoke.
Yeah. Really good. And good for Luke.
yeah.
Yeah, great for
It's
Luke.
a big moment for that kid, right?
Big moment.
It's a big
He
moment
won
for
the
that kid.
squad. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love it.
Awesome.
And
All right.
against his coach Gerald, so good
Right.
for him.
I was gonna say it's like home field abuse right there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Home field
Yeah.
abuse.
Well, they both play at Giant Party Sports in Dallas.
And I think Gerald kind of discovered Luke when he was like a D5, D4 player, similar to how Gerald discovered me 20 something years ago. And it's kind of had been his little Padawan on his way up back in Gerald's reincarnation of his second life of his next career. So.
Yeah. Well, I know you're tired, and I'm dealing with a tremendous amount of lactic acid in my legs. So,
He played paintball this weekend, and he's.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. He tried to go to the snake, and
I made it. What are you talking about? Tried.
He was in there. It's just the pain of being in there. Now he's got snake back.
It was
how'd that
absolutely
loader go?
Oh, that loader exploded. Never loan your loader to Harrison Fry. He will hand it back to you in not great shape. I love you, Harry, but darn, man, come on now. So
we Rob G, as we introduced you and introduced the show, kind of jumped in and said, and he was like, "Hey, and Ryan B can ball." And we were like, "Yes, Ryan's a really good player." And we started talking about we all played this weekend. Like coaches, a lot of times don't play, right? And we still play. So
I'm waiting for the one-on-one rule in overtime. I think it should go if you go through 3 players and it's the next one-on-one, the coach goes out. We'll just get it over with.
Yeah. I'd be down.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Let's see. I know you still play. The 3 of us still play.
Ryan Smith still plays.
Yeah, you put a gun in Ryan
Smith's
Smith's hand. Put a gun in Bain's hands. There's quite a few guys that can out there and
Casey plays. Dusty Court's in here. He said,
I'm down.
I'm down. You guys have like 3 guys that could probably walk out there and play. You, Tyler. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, Tyler's down too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he is too.
I'm sure. Yeah. So let's kind of jump into the meat of this. We have talked a little bit about sort of your season as a whole. 10th place, 6th place, 4th place, 2nd place. So really good progression, right? You guys are getting better and better. But for X Factor, kind of not a great season, right? Like especially starting off 10-6, you guys are. I know the expectation for you and the group is you're a top 4-3 team, right? We want to be up here. That's where we belong. That's who we are. And had a little bit of a struggle, right? So, and I know kind of 2 big losses over the last 2 years, really, with Axel going away, with LJ Parrish going away, which I thought LJ, did a great job for you guys when he played with you on the Dorito side. And then Axel, you kind of used Axel all over the place, right? So you lose 2 big weapons. I do think that had some impact. However, maybe not. You also had some bad luck. You guys have bumped up against teams throughout the year that mostly have gone on to win the tournament, right? That are just red hot when you see them.
Right.
You again, I don't want to say everything that we just said, but using Paintball Fit as an example, they just come off mercy ruling AC Diesel, come in to play you guys who have not played yet. They mercy rule you guys. They're just red hot. They go on and win the tournament. They beat us in the next match, like very convincingly. I think the score was like 5-2, but they beat us way worse than 5-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those, like, the scoreboard does not say what's really happening here. And then you bump up against us at the last event. We had just beaten mercy ruled Edmonton Impact, and then we come in to play you guys. We're pretty hot at that point. And we go on to win the tournament. So, like, other than the Uprising match in the first event, the other two teams that you guys have lost to this year have gone on to win the event. They've been hot at the time that you touched them. Just like kind of you guys were really hot, I felt really confident you guys were going to go on and win this event. Before we kind of jump into that, though, so talk a little bit about the pickups you guys have made to sort of fill the gap. It looked like Cody might have even been injured at the last event. I saw him in street clothes. Cody has done a really good job on the D side for you guys, carrying the load. But you guys add Silos Cortez, you add Nico Hyde going into this event. First, what was the thought process for those two pickups? And then now that you've got them into the program, how do you plan to use them?
Yeah, integration.
Yeah, absolutely. Nico, we've kind of been, he's local, he's pretty close to us. And so we've been back and forth with Nico for a while. We've almost added him a couple times. It just, hasn't worked out. We've had players come back or just didn't happen. So there was a time this year that, we were pretty thin starting out the season. It's like, I don't, maybe 7 or 8 players. And we knew we kind of needed a guy, and we had Nico come out for a practice before the, where we play, Cincinnati event. And he played well. We talked about maybe bringing him to that. But he had some, it was kind of last minute. He had some most concerns. And we're also kind of looking into the future because we don't have TJ Danner for Cup. He's having a child. And so we've known this. So TJ's having his first kid. So we've kind of known for a while now that we were going to be really shorthanded. So we're kind of getting ready to kind of fill that hole and thinking Nico, someone that we can kind of work into the system, someone who's experienced and is just an overall good guy and can potentially fill a role that we need. And so that's where Nico fits in. And I think it's building, right now this year and hopefully, for years to come. It's like we don't necessarily need Nico to come in and play immediately. We just know he's someone that's going to gel with the team and be a good teammate. And hopefully that'll kind of take place. And for Silos, that was something where he became available. He parted ways with Diesel. In my opinion, there's not that many people that play that style of small and fast, aggressive Dorito ones. There's isn't a ton. There's LJ Parrish, Karslev. There's only so many guys that played that fast and furious style. And we kind of have, and Bayless is closer to that style, but Cody does go through injuries. It's just something that's kind of plagued him throughout the years. And if we lean too hard on Cody, he can get banged up. And so it's one of those of made sense to bring Silos in. And as we saw throughout this last event, he had a hell of a tournament. So that's kind of where those pickups come from. It's just getting a little bit more, more depth, when there's talent out there and people that are willing to come in and because that's the offer we made. Silos was like, when he parted ways with Diesel, he had a lot of offers. And I said, hey, I can't give you 100% offer. I can give you, I'll buy your plane ticket if you want to come to a practice. But that's also going to be a week before the roster's locked because that's when we have our next practice. So, and he went out on a limb and he took that up. He believed in himself. So, we're just looking for good fits into our culture. We have a tight team. And we are deep and we do like to play fairly thin. We don't like to play super thin as there's a lot of teams in this league, I feel like, where they might have 12 or 13 guys, but they really only play 5 or 6. We like to play 7 guys, and an eighth a little bit, but we like to play 7 guys and have 7 guys going on the field. That way, if someone starts having an off, because sometimes people go cold on Sunday, and we'll see it in this match that we're about to talk about. And I'd like to have someone who's played, in those other Sunday matches. So I like to run 7 on Sunday, where a lot of teams go to 5. But that's the way we like to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Legitimate.
Yeah, we learned that lesson. We learned that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, against you guys. It would have been nice if Leo would have had a few more opportunities before he was kind of thrown to the wolves. But unfortunately, we didn't plan appropriately. So because Danny had done such a great job the whole event,
Yeah.
I mean, he really, that kid is really coming into his own. I mean, he snaps Billy out. At one point down the wire, Billy's controlling him and he snaps him out. And I'm like, kid, that is rarefied air to do what you just did. Billy's not somebody you bully,
No.
Yeah. So yeah, but we learned that lesson against you guys, and it's a big deal. So let's talk about the preliminary round first.
Right.
Okay. Because to be honest, I thought you guys looked terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is where I'm like, I have to ask sometimes, like, am I an asshole or did you see the same thing I saw?
Right. Oh no, you should. My texts were like, I can't, like, didn't, like, my wife, my mom was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, we can't get anything right now.
It's one of those, like, I'll see you Sunday afternoon. I'll see you Sunday afternoon, probably. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you guys lose to AC Diesel 1-3. And again, just didn't look good at all. Then you guys come out, beat NRG 5-0. Lose to the Hurricanes in a really grindy match, 2-1. You beat Paintball Fit in a chaotic match, 3-2. Maybe one of the weirdest matches all weekend with all the penalties that were going on. You guys kind of went to some wars in the preliminary rounds, but to be honest, I didn't think you guys looked very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the conversation after day 1, after the loss to Diesel? And
the loss to Diesel was, we had 2 major things go wrong in 2 of the points that we lost. We had a loader go down and a bottle run out of air in both of them. And, you can't say, hey, we lost because of this, but it did put us in a bad situation in 2 points. One of those points, we were way up on bodies, and we had a loader issue where Jared Lackey ran down the whole Dorito side and a 2-on-4 shot everybody. Now there should have been more than one person looking at him. We had a 4, so it's one of those situations. But so there's a couple of things to look back on, like, hey, we got to clean this up. But also, we should not be. And I thought Diesel played well, but we shouldn't. 2 little things go wrong. Some things probably went wrong for Diesel too. You can't.
Sure.
We have to be better than that. And so we just didn't. And honestly, we didn't play great in the 3-man either. So it's like, we just were not really good in practice, but just for some reason, coming in wasn't looking good. But then we turned around against Energy and we played a pretty strong game, and we did the thing we needed to. And what eventually got us into Sunday was put up, an undefeated 5 unanswered points against them. So afterwards, it's like, man, like, at least if maybe it was the other way around, it's like, at least we're trending a little bit in the right direction. And then we go into the Hurricanes game, and I don't recall the game. I recall the game being tight, and I do know we made a crucial error in there. I just don't recall exactly what it was, but I do know that there was one real crucial error. And one thing we kept doing, and I know if we're wrong, that we were really liking to hang back in the snake corner and in the snake. And we talked about it before the match, and that we prefer, and Billy's just his style and everything, to get up with them, and we would play better. And for some reason, we were just hanging back in that corner. So we lost the match, but we were able to look back and say, I forgot what the crucial error was. And hey, this is what we need to not be doing. Let's get in there with Billy. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I think the better way to play it is 2 in there. But even if you guys say you like it better in the corner for you, Billy wants you in the snake with him. So let's go get in the snake with him and see what happens. So at least we had a plan going into the Fit game. And then we get, the Fit game, and it's chaos. But Fit's a great team. They're on a run. We knocked them out the event before, and they're a scrappy team, and they are bringing their best against us. We don't want to lose against them. They don't want to lose against us. Right. We might be the only team in the league with a positive record against them. They don't want to lose against us, and they've sent us home many times on Sunday too. So it's not like I'm saying we have their number. It is one of those. It's just we're both bringing our best game against each other, and so it came into that grind of a war, and they got some penalties, and it looked like all those penalties against them in replay were deserved. I think they were saying that we should have gotten a penalty. I'm not sure on that. I'm not going to say that. I'm not sure. We very well may have, but.
No, the one they were screaming about, like you can watch in slow. They show it in slow motion. TJ doesn't get that hit until after he's already bunkered Trenton. So he shoots Trenton, then Scott Stewart or Jacob, one of them in the snake, shoots him in the leg. But he's already passed the wedge before he gets shot. So he shoots Trenton, then he gets shot in the leg. And that's the one that they were really yelling about. But it wasn't a penalty. I mean, the refs made the right call. I think Jason watched it several times, even though there wasn't a penalty called, and he can't do anything about it anyway. There's no review if there's no penalty. He still went in and watched it and said, like, he's not hit. So, and you can see it on the film. They slow it down and show it. He doesn't pick that hit up until he's already passed. But the couple that they got, I was going to ask you about this too. Knowing that they only had 6 players, do you think potentially that could have created, because they're not a team who loses discipline, right? And they lost they lost discipline, right? Even their pit was really chaotic, and it gets that way from time to time, but then it calms down pretty quickly for them. It didn't seem like it did. It seemed like their pit was pretty like high the whole time with kind of negative energy and a lot of chaos. Do you think the fact that they only had 6 guys at the last event potentially created some of that?
Possibly. It's hard for me to definitively say that, just because that squad has proven multiple times now that they can win with 5 or 6. And so it might be that the heightened emotions that, we ended their run the event before, they're coming out and they're it's a little bit elevated for them. It's elevated for us too. And so that might be part of it, is that they want to beat us, and I'm sure they want to beat everybody. But I think they particularly want to beat us. It's a bit of a budding rivalry, or probably a full-on rivalry at this point. Yeah. And we have a lot of respect. I don't think there's any bad blood amongst, any of us. I think it is just a little, feels a little big brother, little brother-ish, and the little brother is now just as big, and it's one of those kind of and sometimes bigger, and it's kind of
arguably the best team in the world, right? Like, I mean, it's like for a year, nobody that was not named, Red Legion or Fit won a tournament, and they won 3 in a row. They're arguably the best team in the world right now.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a rivalry, that's the team you want to have.
That's a good one.
That's it. You don't want to have a rivalry with leverage, Yeah.
So
rivalry.
And after, we knew the spread in that game, and it obviously came down to crazy tiebreakers. But I knew the points, and there was a bit of confusion afterwards, but I felt pretty confident. So we did make it on. And at that point, I felt pretty good, because I just knew that you get that little extra feather in your cap when it's like you come to the brink and you've realized that, like, hey, no matter what, this squad does know how to put it together to win from behind. It's a winning one from behind usually helps. Winning under pressure, that was an elimination game for us. So we get those little things, and as long as you maintain, you gain from it. Don't get too emotional. Don't celebrate it like you just won the tournament, because I see people do that. Because it can be a similar feeling. For us, we know what we have to win by, and we have to win, or we're going home. and you're playing the best team in the world, and you beat them, and it's you kind of almost like it's like feeling of like an accomplishment, but the job's far from over. You got to show up tomorrow and play a wild card game. So it's definitely having to manage that. But I felt pretty good going into that wild card game after that.
Right. And you can tell too, right? It's one of those things. Well, heading into the damage match for Dynasty, we knew exactly where the numbers were and what had to happen. We're like, okay, we just have to beat them. There was no margin. We just have to beat them and we'll take the spot. And of course, it didn't manifest itself. To your point, I think what's happened now is right. Okay, hey, we've learned a lot of lessons. We've been given a second life and we need to make the most of it. To your point, we don't get emotional about it, right? We have to make the best of this. Let's stay focused and disciplined on what has to happen in that wild card match tomorrow. That's the only match that matters out of all of it, right? 1 point at a time heading into that wild card.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Like going into that match, Meter, we were playing in the split deck and Meter's like, hey, you got make sure they know, like, you guys need to beat them. And I was like, you think I have to go over in there and tell those guys that we need to beat that they need to win? Like, I'm going to go tell those guys that want nothing more than to beat everybody here that, hey, those guys said it's really important for you to win.
Important. Win big, please.
I was like, I was like, Meter, we're here to compete. Like, we want to beat everybody. So you don't have to worry about that with us. So going into that Ocho match, like Mike kind of mentioned, that's the only match that matters. And you're going into a match with a team who look the best they have looked all year long.
That's right.
And I don't even think it's close. Like watching Infamous from day one, and kind of navigate through their 4 preliminary matches, they looked awesome.
Yes.
I mean, flat out, they looked fantastic. Looked like they really knew how to play the field. They were very connected with one another. They just didn't they normally make a lot of mistakes. They really didn't have that. They
had
well
great
rounded.
Tempo. They had really great tempo too, right? And and you got that, and you knew they were going to bring that when you watched them at the 3-man the day before. So, they again looked very well rounded. They knew how to play the field well. We're stacking up and creating that tempo down the snake, and then countering on the Dorito side. Looked great. So, kind of walk us through a little bit of like what's that team meeting look like going into the Infamous match?
That one was a lot of we had a good idea of what they were doing and what they were successful doing and the personnel that was making them successful. So for us, it was very much of like, and they were playing, if you think about it, so much better than they have been for probably 2 years, 3 years. So we're looking at it going, I don't think they're going to divert much. They can't afford to, they have to continue to put that pedal to the metal. So now it's like, all right, well, we know what they're going to do. So we just kind of set up to say, hey, I'm pretty confident they're going to do the same thing. And I'm also looking at too that, their first punch, great players in ZP and Jonah. But the experience we have matched up with that with Billy and Archie is going, all right, this is a pretty good matchup for us. If they're going to try to go hot and heavy against these two guys, that I think we can sustain that. So I don't want to say I was any more overly confident going into that match than any other one, but I did feel like we had the right people and the right plan to control that game. And I don't want to say it was an easy game. I was saying that things went to plan and it went our way. And our players played well, and we shut down and slowed down the things we needed to. It just wasn't. It felt like the most controlled game that we had played, other than the NRG game. And no offense to NRG, but it's just that's how that's supposed to go, in my opinion. But this felt like one of the more games on Sunday that we just all year that we just felt like, hey, we're just in control. This is going kind of how we would write it up. Yeah.
And that makes it easy, right? Like, and I don't think that's a shot at Infamous. If your game plan is really good, your players are executing really well, things do become easy, even when you're playing really good teams. So you beat Infamous 3-1. Now you go and you're playing Red Legion. Also really good match. I kind of talked about this before you jumped on. You guys did a great job kind of absorbing our attack. We were up bodies in the 3 points that you won, and you still beat us. So I thought you guys did a fantastic job against us. Your game plan was great. The guys executed really well. And that combination that you're talking about, which we mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's real. You know, that Archie Billy combination is very, very dangerous.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
dangerous.
it's potent. It's very dangerous, and so it's like you lose one, you got the other one right there, and that guy's capable of shooting 2 at any minute. So it's you know, I do have a spoil of riches on the snake side. I just do, and so we have to put that in place when we can. So
Yeah, where are you lacking riches?
right?
that's true.
Where are you lacking riches?
Yeah,
you have one of the three of the best support players in paintball. You have the best Swiss Army knife in Colt Roberts. You now have an incredibly talented Dorito side. Like where are the holes in your roster?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you're leaning into your strengths. Where are the weaknesses right now?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's intentional, right? You know, we're trying to build it. And when you have a great owner and Alex, like we do, and in a team culture that we've had for a long time. And, you know, we are fortunate enough to be able to bring in the guys that we want to bring in. You know, when we target somebody and we know I'm not targeting anybody that wants to make $70,000 a year to play paintball. I know,
Right.
I know my limits, right? But it's like when we target somebody, and that's the piece we're trying to put in, you know, Alex is generous enough to support the team to make that happen. And luckily we have a culture and that it's not like begging somebody to come on board. So, you know, the team we have has been more or less handpicked, you know, and the only people I would add to it, I can't afford. So it's just how it is. So.
to all you budding coaches out there, I want you to pay attention to the fact that Mr. Brand here has now mentioned culture 2 or 3 times. All right. We keep emphasizing that on this show since the inception of the show. And if you're really listening, I hope that sinks in, because culture is what leads to successes, I think. Right. You got the right culture, you got the right attitude, you'll never be beat. So.
Yeah.
And I do think X Factor has it in bunches, right? And that's a top-down thing, starting with Alex. I mean, Alex Martinez is just, I mean, he's salt of the earth. He's no nonsense, no bullshit. He tells it like it is. He's a great owner. We're really lucky to have him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's like second father to many of us that have been around him forever. And it is a big, you know, when I have to take off my coach hat and put on my GM hat in the off season, you know, no shot to any other owner in the league, but it's really great for me able to say with confidence of, hey, you know, I can't, you know, you're not going to get the biggest check. I mean, I can't promise you something, but I can't promise you that whatever I say to you and Alex says to you is going to happen to the T. You know, there's no dispute, and it's to the T, to the letter. You're going to get everything, you know, that the deal is made up of, and to be able to, that doesn't always happen in this game. So that's just a huge hats off to Alex. Yeah.
And he's been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really long time. I remember I was there in the beginning.
Yeah.
So now you're going in to play the Hurricanes, right? Who you lost to in the preliminary rounds. And we talk about this a lot too. It's really hard to beat a team twice.
Right.
If you beat them in the prelims, you got to play them again. That's always one of those like, crap, right? Because it's like, what kind of adjustments need to be made? There's this weird kind of, even if nothing changes, there's still this idea of a chess game that's occurring between the coaches and the staffs and the teams. And so did you guys make changes going into this match?
Yes, we did. We were taking a look at how the Hurricanes were shooting off the break, and that's where they were producing a lot of on the Dorito side. Small assist from Coach Kyle Spica, you know, him say, hey, they're chewing us up on the Dorito side. Like, have you considered going to this small little Dorito because it's safe to run there and getting out from there? And it was already in consideration, but you know, I'll take any help, you know, any little advice of going, you know, plant that seed. I'll look a little deeper into that. So we kind of made sure that we went there a few times just to make sure we got our Dorito side out alive. The goal was to be alive off the break. The problem was Drew Bell had a different opinion of
Plan.
that.
Yeah.
Different plan for that. There was a shot, a very, very difficult shot of running out to that judo kick. They were not shooting the snake side. They did not have a gun snake way other than Dan Camp taking a tiny knee off the mini W where he can only shoot the corner. So the snake is wide open against the Hurricanes other than Drew running and shooting to a can. And in 50% of the points, Drew is the one doing this. And when Drew lines up there, he's only going to the can. And Drew's not the smallest, fastest guy either. So he's having to book it. He's not like he's walking and shooting. He's having to run and shoot because we have a guy standing over the top of the back center just shooting at Drew. And we had tried this shot many times to try to connect it. And Colt Roberts being one of the guys who I think has maybe other than Drew's big a case for this, one of the best cross shots in the league of running out and shooting crossbody.
Agreed.
And Colt's telling me, hey, this shot, because we're trying to hit it on Zach Patient and Jonah over and over again. He's like, it's possible, but it's really hard to hit right. He's like, it's possible, but it's got to be a perfect ball. And so we go out there and Drew shoots Billy the first time. And then Billy's like, where'd it come from? And I'm like, it had to be, there's no other gun. It had to be Drew. And he's like, all right. He's like, I was like, well, let's try it again. There's no way he can hit it twice. He hits him again.
That's
okay.
true.
That sounds like Drew.
Yeah. And so I think maybe we took one off of doing it. And then Billy, he's like, I can do it. He's like, there's no way he'll hit it again. Drew hits it again. and going, all right, now he's hit it 3 times. And I think we took one off. And now the match all of a sudden, I think we're not able to close it off from regulation. We get close to winning it in regulation. We don't, so it goes to overtime. And I see Billy looking at me at that glimmer in his eye going, there's no way he can hit it again. And I'm like, and I look at Colt, I'm like, how hard is this shot? And Colt's like, he's like, it's next to impossible. And I was like, all right, run it, Billy. And Drew shoots him again. So the only thing that really worked out for us is that I knew that, at this point, fool me 3 times, I'm a fool. So I had a little bit of insurance going, all right, well, I ran Silos to the furthest Dorito next to the 50. I was like, let's just go on both sides. He's like, he can't shoot both of them. It's 2 different directions. And so Billy gets shot. Silos makes it. He's in a spot that I don't know how many times that bunker has ran off the break in the whole event, but less than 5, maybe less than 3. So he sneaks in there. He's able to produce a kill out of it off the break, and we get ourselves in a 4-on-2 pretty quickly in that overtime. Almost squander it by trying to close it through the center. The clock played into it a little bit. We're coming down on time. I even didn't like Silos's move because he went up to the center as well. So I was also like, looking different places to smash my clipboard because I thought this was going 1-on-1 for sure at that point. But Silos hits a shot, makes it a 2-on-1. We're able to close it out and punch our ticket to the finals. But I think that match with, you lose, one of the best players in the league off the break, 4 out of 5 or 6 points. The game might be tight, and Drew made it tight that way. If we would have maybe had a different strategy, or if Drew's shot would have been a little bit off, maybe that match would have been not so close. But that's how it went. So I was happy to pull it off.
I was watching that one live in the VIP, and I was conflicted.
I bet you were.
It's rare for Drew Bell to be off.
It is. It is.
Yeah. I don't know that I've actually ever seen it. That's not true. World Cup 2 years ago.
No, World Cup. No, the last 3 World Cups.
Okay. Maybe he just takes World Cup off.
Yeah. Sit that one out.
Yeah.
So now we're headed into this Impact match. I mean, Impact literally did the exact same thing pretty much all weekend. I mean, very few changes. Like once they kind of got into Sunday, it was basically the same guys, whether, you didn't know if it was going to be Dalton or little JC, but for the most part, it was like, it was same guys, right? Like same guys, same play pretty much every time, same intention, right? Pretty much every time. So how are you going into this finals match?
I felt good. I thought the team, like we said, we absorbed the blows. We had, I didn't think we were going to see anything we hadn't seen. We practiced Impact prior to the event. That went, it went well. I'd say fairly. It was a good practice. It's one of those, like, we didn't feel like there was going to be any surprises. We knew what we wanted to do. We knew the bunkers we didn't want to be in. The snake corner being one, the snake can being the other because of the bounce shot. And we also knew kind of where Impact's strengths were, not making a lot of mistakes. Needed to keep an eye on the ball going up the center, and being unseen to hurt people that way. And we needed to not let Tyler hit good shots on people in long points. And that was kind of how our conversations went. It's one of those, and you're saying, hey, don't let, these are things that some of them we can do. We don't want to be in these bunkers. Don't be there. Saying, hey, don't get shot by Tyler at a wicked snapshot. It's hard to say, but we were well aware of where they could sting us. And we kind of knew how it was going to go down. And really going into it, like, we felt confident. Now going into that match, we lost 6 finals in a row, which was already probably a record times 2, maybe. I don't know. We've been on a streak, and in some of those finals, I would say we've kind of been through different ways to play them. We've learned all the way through it. I think early on in some of those were, playing not to lose too much, or playing a little too hesitant, not playing with enough confidence, playing it like it's a finals game rather than just playing it like it's a paintball game. We've learned. So the conversations, like, now at this point, in some of those finals, we've had a couple of them, we've just been played bad. A couple of them, we've had, acts of God that calamities of massive proportions that caused us to lose in a couple of them. And this was one that we were just going into it like, hey, we should be confident. We can beat this team. Like, just play it. We know what's ahead of us. We can win. We're playing great. And so I felt like everyone was confident. Our game plan was not massively different, but we had a few different things we hadn't pulled out yet that sometimes we saved for the finals, and we went into it confident. Yeah.
I talked about this in the introduction a little bit, that you like to have pocket plays.
Mm-hmm.
You like to save these pocket plays for late in the tournament.
Yeah. There's
about
many
that.
tournaments. It's interesting, right? There's when to pull it out, because a lot of these ones can produce you. And so sometimes, not to give too much away, but there's times I say them for when you need to in the finals. There's times I've thrown it the first point of the finals. There's many tournaments that I've had it, and it might be the best play in my book, and I never gotten to use it because we didn't make it to the finals. But sometimes you need that little edge in the finals to throw the unexpected, to give you that advantage, because you're going up against the other best team there. And if you don't, and if you're just giving them what they've seen, we're talking about the teams in the finals often have the great coaching staffs. They know what's coming. So if you've shown it anywhere, sometimes they know, and especially the ones that map really well, they really know, because, hey, they've done this, so many times, but they've done this one play one time, and it was in this crucial moment. So that next time in a crucial moment, is it coming? Same thing with, Infamous in the 3-on-3. They have that great run. They have Silver going to their Dorito, and he's winning matches from the 3-on-3. Well, now they can't use it 5-on-5. That's we're ready for it. Every time we're up on points, look for this run Sam's going to do. So that's sometimes why you keep that play in your pocket. So that's what it's there for.
No, that's an excellent explanation, because, I talk to other coaches about this all the time, about how we're always asking our players to be disciplined. But as coaches, we have to be just as disciplined on when and how we try to execute specific things. To your point, I think every coach has that. Almost every coach goes out there and says, okay, we need to develop a 45-second play, point, or a 60-second point, or we need to develop a hold play that eats a minimum of this amount of time since points are averaging this and all these different things. Coaches are doing that. But then there's always that one special play that if you end up having to pull out in an emergency situation in the prelims, you're like,
Yeah.
Did they catch it? Did they see it? Some, depending on who we're going to end up playing, probably mark that. So that discipline of you holding that is incredible. It's very well said. So well done. Smart. I do have a question. I want to get this question in here because I think it's a good question because Ryan, I think you have a reputation for something that I wish I had
really good hair.
Yeah. Other than the really good hair. Right. And it comes from Joey here. And he says, I might have missed it, but I'd love to hear about Ryan's ability to towel so quickly and how he has gotten to that level of decision-making so well.
It really depends on the team you have. I'm fortunate to be able to towel and reset because my team, they're the ones that make me look smart, but I've had a lot of those matches and I often will get yelled at by the team because like, hey, give me a chance. But like, I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you the chance that's going to start in 2 minutes. And now you have this much time on the clock to do it, and I'm not right all the time, and there's times I was almost wrong in that Hurricanes match. I almost toweled a point and that we wound up winning. And it was, hey, throw the towel and wait. And we had shot a guy we started to make a move. And I was like, no, hold on. And it just, like, it was milliseconds from toweling a point that could have cost us the match. And so there's a few of those, but for me, it's the belief of my team. If I think we're going to win more points with more time, then I'm going to get us back to full strength to give us that opportunity. So it's not, so it's not so much rocket science. At the time, I think I maybe pioneered that where I caught a lot of flack of it. I think you go watch any game Ryan Greenspan commentated from the 2015 or 16, 17 season. He used to, rip into me, every time just, that I don't believe in my guys to win and all this stuff. But over the course of getting proved right and doing it at the right times and winning matches, that I think it started to become more of the norm that you see carried on through, I would say it's almost textbook, right? The understanding of it, if you do have the better team. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think you taught coaches how intelligent it is to understand the situation, recognize it, right? I'm going to give my guys, we're down. It's 5-on-3. This fields are playing fast or they're playing slow, depending on whatever. And now you're like, okay, I'm going to give him 30 seconds. And if I don't see him posturing up and I see him being potted plants, nope, I need that time back. Bam. Right. So I think you did write the book on it. And don't feel bad about Ryan saying stuff like he says stuff like that about me. And now Mike Jeffries hoses me all the time on the.
No, it's good, but it's and I think Ryan's come around to it, but I think it's just at that time it was so disruptive to what the norm was at the time.
Sure.
But paintball, it's a game where it's probabilities. It really is. In every little instance, and even the gunfights. Guys sometimes they kind of look at me like I'm being a little bit, but it's like I'm not asking someone if it's a 50-50 gunfight. Like, hey, was that a 52-48 gunfight? Like, it's one of those. And is that 50-50 gunfight still a 50-50 gunfight when you're up by one compared to being down by one? All these probabilities are changing based on clock and everything of when to engage and when not to, when to do stuff. So the same thing. It's like those towel things is the probabilities. Is your probability likely to win that point versus lose it? How often are you winning a 2-on-3 compared to how often are you winning 5-on-5s against that same team? And that's when you towel it or you don't. Yeah.
Excellent explanation. Thank you.
I love that because I agree wholeheartedly in what you're saying. And I think the reason it's become the norm is paintball coaches and staff now are so much more statistically driven, right? Like the decisions that are happening are so much more based on real data than they ever have been, right? Mm-hmm. Where we're looking at every single piece and saying, okay, if we are in this setup and they're in that setup, this is either going to be a 3-minute point that we could potentially lose, or we can stop it now. Let's get 5-on-5, get our right setup, and then who cares what they do? I think there's a lot more of that than there used to be, where it's like, yeah, just tell it. We're good. Tell it. Let's start 5-on-5, especially if statistically your team is better than the other team. You want to play as many points as you can, right? If I can break out 5-on-5 against every team in the league a whole bunch of times, I want to do that. Yeah. I want to do that. So I think it's great. Great answer. Michael Johnson.
We're going to put that in the coaches clinic.
Elaborate more on the 50-50. What he's talking about, MJ, is yes. So
or the 60-40.
Yeah, statistics change in a gunfight as far as the value of you being in that gunfight based on the moment of what's happening. For example, up, down bodies, up, down points, how much time's left on the clock. If you're engaging in a gunfight that when you're up bodies and up points, that's not a good gunfight. Right. So the statistics go in a bad direction. You shouldn't be in that gunfight because if you lose it, now you could be shifting things back the other direction.
Right. I would add one other variable, and that would be positioning of the gunfight.
Totally. Yeah. He could be standing up. You're down in a snake. Right.
Yeah.
Why are you in that gunfight?
They're in Temple. Yeah. You know, they're all there's. You know, it's funny, but there's not that many 50-50 gunfights if you really look at it. Everyone will say it is, but they're not all coin flips. And so it's recognizing. That's what I think the best players do the best is recognize when they do have the edge and when they don't, and when to pull back and when to press it. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't let ego get in the way.
Yeah.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best players today, I don't think have egos.
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to get that out there. Then I don't think any of the best players today have egos.
Okay.
That was
all right. We're gonna move on to the pen now because I don't know what's happening. Like it's the doo-doo is getting deep. It's getting
that was
deep
sarcasm, a little sarcasm.
Best players don't have egos. I will say the best players don't allow the ego to impact them.
Okay, there you go. That's better. All right.
So Billy did this run. So, like, it was so weird.
Yeah, he goes deep there, right? Deep from the beam.
He does this every time. He goes like right by the can. So does he this time as well.
Yeah.
I do want to say this too. I've never seen anybody crawl as fast as Billy Bernaccia. Axel, maybe. Billy is so stupid fast crawling.
Mouse is pretty fast on the crawl. Yeah, the three of them are very, very fast on the crawl.
Both of these guys are elite snake players. Billy beats him by 3 seconds.
Yep, he's a quick one. And then this is the long point. You know, this is kind of what we talked about. This is the grinder, and this field had been a grind, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a ton of, you know, they took a little bit more ground here on the Dorito side, but other than that, everything else is pretty well matched up. You know, the one thing, but we're already a little bit out of our discipline, I think, is that we're in this snake can that we talked about that we don't want to be in too much. Now, Archie might be matching it because Tyler's in there. But this is a true 50-50 right now where they both have a gnarly bounce shot off that green corner into each other. And
you see Archie's using it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because you see how Tyler's playing his bunker. This is a 7-minute, 26-second point, I believe. And
I'm going to fast forward in a minute. I was just like pausing to show the set.
Right. Well, I wanted to get to I wanted to get to about 3 minutes into the point because I think that's where 3 minutes in, Cortez and TJ bails out, right, and gets out. And some people might be critical of TJ leaving that can on the cross. I don't think so. Once you had the 2-man setup in the snake,
get out.
I get out there. And now because there's no visual acuity on the Dorito side of what's in front of you, you have to put one of your assets snake way or in the home or one of those bunkers that's conceding a specific point, right? And you're basically shooting a zone and you're dumping paint because you don't know, you're never going to have eyes on there. So now it's what I call the paranoia, right? The paranoia of where's he at? Where's he want to be? So I like that 3 minutes in. I like that setup. Once you had the two men in that situation in the snake, I thought TJ, there you go. Good stuff. But Impact does probably the best thing you can too when that happens. And that is they triple the stack in the snake.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the advantage here tactically, and at least in my opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent, is that if you lose a body right there, you haven't lost the asset, right? Because you still have the capability to have eyes on and still slow down the counter, right? Because you still have the second body one to watch the wire, one to watch the Dorito side. So you still have, basically take over that, that role. So if I lose a body in the snake, I can still have a body who can get in there with him. One can be on the wire, one can be on Dorito control. And that's just my opinion on that. I mean, we got to be honest. Tyler's shot on Archie, like you said, you alluded to there, Mr. Brand, that it's pretty sick. That to me, that had the look of a practice shot. That might have been something that he was working on, popping a cone, maybe a couple of times during the week or something, because it was.
Yeah, that's Tyler being Tyler.
Yeah, it was Tyler being Tyler.
One ball.
That was a
one
heat
trigger pull. Yeah. He's thicker, and that's the thing, you got to know your enemy, and that's Tyler being Tyler. And what produced that kill is that move, to the snake
right.
too. That we were in this, Billy and JC are in the same bunkers. Archie hung back, and Tyler came up, bettered his position a little bit and snuck that ball in there, being the aggressor. Yeah. So now we're in a 4-on-5, a lot of time ticking down. Don't love it, right, by any means.
But Matt makes a good fill, right? Matt gets over there to back Billy. I feel JC here has the highway run. JC has the highway run.
Yeah, I think
right?
TJ's
if he comes out at an angle towards that snake side wedge in the center, he comes out there, he can get Billy clean before Matt or somebody Dorito picks him up.
Yeah. Yeah, TJ's in the corner. I know Billy was asking for protection. Who's watching this? Right. So TJ's got the discipline on it, but he probably at least gets him clean on the outside. Or like a trade. You see TJ here, like it's gonna be likely a trade unless TJ's paint's in the air.
Exactly. And instead Billy makes the decision. And is Cornell the one who picks him up, or is Cornell die at this point? I can't remember.
I think Meter
Billy gets picked up.
I think Meter shoots Brandon Cornell at some point here, I think, if I recall. But when Billy goes, maybe Billy goes first here. Billy
goes first.
Thought he shot Rainey moving back to the can, and he's like, here's my opportunity to go for it. Because he was hoping he was going to get a ball on Rainey moving from the corner inside of the can, and thinking that Rainey's one of these guys protecting the highway. They just had an extra guy protecting.
Right.
Well, they had an extra guy to work with here.
Yeah,
they did. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I also felt like the JC highway run is there. But that's just me. So
you see Randy goes here. Billy just misses him, launches right away, and just doesn't. I honestly I don't know when Billy took the ball, but I think if he did pull that trigger, they may have just pulled them both.
Yeah.
He eats it.
He might have got a major.
He might have gotten a major because it looks like he eats the ball
Tyler over the top
before he gets
clean.
No,
I think he gets shot from the can.
Right there. See it? Yeah. Back up to the mid part of the beam.
Oh, no, hang on.
Yeah,
Tyler is pointing.
I think Tyler did it over the top. And I think
Tyler
what happened, I think Billy told me this. This is what happened. Tyler heard Billy's gun shoot at Rainey, and he popped the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might have been a major. Might have been.
Billy, honestly, in the positioning of it, may have the speed Billy comes through those. I think Rainey made a bad move. He made a lot of good moves in this match, but he made a bad one there. Billy maybe if he hadn't have shot his gun at Rainey and just left, he might have gotten them both.
You might be onto something, because with Rainey having to reposition himself like that was an excellent read by
because by the time, because you see Brandon in that move is over the top of that wedge, and Nick, I don't think he's going to see it. So I think if Tyler didn't pop to the top of that moment, Billy takes 2. This was interesting if you back it up a little bit, how this thing played out, because Meter got a kill on Brandon Cornell, Dorito side. Right. And then JC takes off at the same time, kind of blindly. Go back just a tad bit more. It's like he just so Meter's already shot Brandon, and as JC takes off.
Yeah, but
there's a universe where Matt.
I was just going to say, Ryan, I think JC makes the read because he sees Silos go, so he figures,
correct.
okay,
I think he's playing off of it. But there's a universe where I would say more likely universe where Fuzzy shoots JC, and the ball breaks, and JC puts a nasty shot on Fuzzy and gets bounced. But there's if you back it up there, like Fuzzy's waiting for him. Like the fact that JC hits this ball on Fuzzy and right there is a great shot by JC, like a wild one, and gets bounced. And so that we almost turned this point and another, I think
JC's thought process is he sees Silos go, he's got the small window, he knows if he digs Matt out, whether it's a trade or not. Now they have the snake side completely to themselves because Fuzzy's the only one over here.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Mike,
the thought
that's
process.
Meter.
Yeah, that's Meter.
Meter.
But that's the thought process. But at the same time, JC, I think he stands up and makes that run on Matt 10 times. Maybe he hits the shot 5 times. You know, it was a hard shot, right? So, and then you see Meter bunkers Nick and clears that whole side. So that was very easily could have been TJ with the whole Dorito side to himself, Matt and the snake, and a 2-on-2. It was almost our point, but JC made it.
I thought you were going to pull that one back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I do. I always ask, when a player comes in, I'm always like, well, talk to me what you were thinking through this point. And I definitely would ask JC there because I would want to understand that. Yeah. See, he even right there, he looks down and he asks.
Yeah, himself. Matt put a ball on him.
He just bounced. Yeah. So an interesting one, but so that's the first point. It's so much time off the clock, right? That's just like not what we wanted. That much time off the clock.
Was this a ref timeout? Who calls the timeout here?
I don't recall. It was either a gun issue. If it was us, it would have been a gun issue. Okay. A chrono situation.
Because I think it might have been y'all because I think Impact had 5 on the box when the timeout went up, and they're still up.
I wish they would put that timeout over the team that called it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know somebody. We'll ask them.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I might have, and I think I got this. I called the timeout. Pause it real quick. Here's why I did it. You have 1.5. Right. And I had a chrono issue, and we were going to have to run to the box. Okay. And so I called it because I was like, not like a run full sprint, but I was like, why not? I'm not going to need this timeout. It's 1.5. Right. I don't get 2 in the next half. So I burned it just to say, well, I don't want my guy to have to run out there. Let's just reset, try to reel in the chaos of it. No.
Right. Yeah.
This point's fascinating to me because I think this is where Ryan and I were talking about before you joined us for the evening. We were talking about how you guys would take down body situations and flip them. And in this situation, you lose Silos on the break and Art shortly after. So you're basically a 5-on-3, but the team does an incredible job. Tanner makes a great fill out that really makes them have to come into guns.
It's Colt. Colt stole this point from them. Yeah. We didn't get the point, but Colt stole it from them.
That's what it is. I actually wrote the notes. It says Colt gets you back into fight.
Yeah.
Colt played so good.
He did.
Yeah.
He played so good. And so here Billy does, again, something that's a little weird, right? Runs around this can up into the snake. Weird.
So, we lose Silos off the break. Archie, I believe, off the break on a quick secondary. So we're in a bad way right here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Already down by 1. You're against Impact, you're going to lose this 0.9 out of 10. But Colt made a very aggressive move. to be in that bunker from where he started losing his one off the break.
That's a man who understands the assignment. We lost two guys off the break. Let's go lose fast or win fast.
Win fast or lose fast. There it is.
Yeah.
And it was almost win fast because you'll see here in a minute, but Tyler takes the ball, it's a textbook minor that he doesn't eliminate himself and looks like he's continuing to play. So, you know, it was one of these, we had a chance to, sometimes, you know, it doesn't roll your way, but if that penalty is thrown as it often is, I think have a decent chance to win this point.
Do you think on the finals that they let the players have a little more space than they do in the preliminaries?
I've seen it both ways, you know. We'll get a talking penalty here in a second that you'll say, I don't know what that was called. But see, Tyler's hit there, trying to hide it. Gets pulled out, no penalty. That's often thrown in the league. Yeah. So now we are in a 3-on-4, and it is just kind of lockdown time. I think we kind of know what we're trying to do is like, you know, Billy's trying, you know, Colt's trying to protect Billy across field. And it's just, at this point, my heart's beating, you know. I feel like
let's get out of the half just down, you know, one. Right.
If JC would have played with the same aggression here that he did the point before, I think they very well might have won this. Because worst case scenario, I don't think we're winning this point, right? So if JC would have just said, you know what, I'm going to go for it, I think that they very well could have been going into halftime 2-0.
Yeah,
so
Billy down a wall of China right there.
Mm-hmm. And we kind of took this as almost like a win. That felt momentum wise like a 0.1 because it was off the break a point lost. So I think we all felt very fortunate going to halftime that it wasn't worse. Confidence. I don't say nothing had gone great for us so far other than stealing that point back. But I would say that, you know, the first point was a very long grind of a point where we knew Tyler hit a very good shot to kind of break that one open and make it start going out of the way. And the second point, you know, they squandered something and based off of, it's not like it was a complete blunder. Colt just made a great move, you know, that isn't, you know, and it kind of atypical. You know, a lot of times teams will get in that, lose 2 off the break real quick and they'll kind of, you know, try to even it up or something in a moment like that, in the big moment. And Colt went for it.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Heading into that. So, all right. So you got an 8-minute break, 8-minute halftime. Right. And so it sounds like that's what you're actually talking to your guys about. You're like, hey, you know, momentum shift here. Way to play that last point out. Way to kill 2.5 minutes off the clock when we were in a bad way. You know, hey, if this one thing changes, shifts on that first point, you know, who knows what's that? So, hey, we've got the momentum. You know, we're not doing anything wrong. We're not doing anything poorly. We're just losing the break. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and you're not going to be able to control that per se. So, what kind of things are we telling them? Hey, I don't think we shift anything, or maybe we make this one little tweak. Because you make a very bold play call to start the second half.
Yeah, I would say a bit. You know, I had it in the pocket a bit, but it's one of those of I know the competition knows me as well as I know them. They know us and our personnel. And I think they know at this point that anytime we've gone up to center of the field, this whole tournament, it's been with Colt. Oh, yeah. And so with that, it's, you know, kind of one of those situations where we're looking into it and going, all right, well, if, you know, we want to go up there and be unseen, then the move is to do it with Colt on the bench. And kind of because we know the center on the field on this one was not super potent if they knew you were there. You know, it just wasn't the best center to be in if you knew. So you want to get up there on scene to kind of chop down people. There's 2 ways to do it. You could go in there. You could wrap the inside of the center to catch the guy coming across, But that does kind of expose you a little bit if you don't know where they went off the break, that their snake guy could come in and just blow your head off if they went really high. Or you can go in there and poss them up, wait for them to go to the snake 2 or snake 3 and pop up and get a kill right there. But you have to hit a shot. So that was really the main purpose of the center on this field. And it can draw some attention. But if you didn't go up there and produce from it, it wasn't the spot you really wanted to be in that bad.
Yeah, you were kind of on an island at that point. You were wheeling and dealing once you were spotted.
So our misdirection there was to try to get up there unseen, and we felt the best way to do it was to do it with Colton Pitt. Unfortunately, Impact has, as you see, kind of 2 base plays they're running throughout this match, and we got a little bit, I don't want to call it unlucky because maybe they had an intention, the best way for them to spy the center, but they called the play that did allow them to see TJ going up there. And I think if they would have done their other base play, TJ's up there and they would have never suspected it because TJ hadn't touched that bunker in the 6 matches we played leading up to that. No.
So, hey, Ryan, let's play the point, and I want to ask Ryan, Mr. Brand, so TJ was made?
You'll see Tyler. I'm standing even with Tyler. Tyler sees him right. You'll see him react right now, and he starts calling Godzilla right there. Yeah.
Okay.
So, our guys were shocked. TJ didn't know he was made. How Tyler knew, he knew. Right? He called the bunker right there. I was a little surprised, but he knew he was there. So he's either got a headpiece or really good vision. I know Tyler's a straight up guy. I'm going to say it's really good vision.
Yeah.
Right, because when he feeds into the snake, I guess we'll call it snake 3 here. The one in front of Billy.
He
not in front of JC, rather.
Yeah. I was surprised too.
Yeah, he feeds in it almost as if he doesn't know he's there.
Yeah, it's great. And see, JC knows he's there. You see Tyler when he does it kind of shake his head. He's shaking his head at himself. Like, I knew better because I called that bunker. So it's pretty funny. You'll see his reaction here.
So he feeds in and all of a sudden he literally does this.
Right
and
here.
It's like, whoa, and he's telling the ref, no, I'm not hit.
Yeah.
But
he had called it.
But that's what I wanted to ask, because you implied that he had been made going up there, and I was like, well, he sure doesn't act like it when he gets to that bunker.
Yeah. And so missing that shot, that kill would have been huge, right? And so now they know he's there. And this is where I think we misplayed it a little bit, because now the element of surprise is gone. We have to play off of this. And in this particular moment, we didn't. We needed to come down the snake and not allow Tyler to do what Tyler does and hit another ridiculous over-the-top shot where I think he shoots. This time it's not at 1 ball because I think he connects with 2. I think he pulls the trigger twice and they both, one in the loader, one in the head. No. But it is, we needed to come down.
Yeah. He just got clipped out from the bounce shot from JC, I believe.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So they hit the
nasty shot from Tyler. Matt Jackson died simultaneously, though, about the same time that Tyler shot TJ, and then you were pretty quick on the.
Yeah, it had to be at this point.
It had to be. No, I'm with you on this one. This one, I was like, boom, right.
Just FYI, right, in my notes, I literally had 0.3 should be yours. You guys just we use that box for 2 different reasons. One, if we wanted, and we did it with Justin, right? We wanted Justin to go up and be on the same job kind of he was at the can. And if he could get there unseen and get a couple kills, great. But if he got seen, we then wanted to counter, right? Mm-hmm. Who is on him and where now do we have a hole and new space that we can attack in, right? Okay. And so when we would send him in there, if the snake guys were watching him, we then played them 2-on-1 and went to the other team side of the snake.
Yeah,
we felt like it could be diverse.
Yeah, the pros are better than this and the divisional guys, but they're still not always great at this. A lot of times in those bunkers, whatever your call is, Godzilla or whatever, someone yells Godzilla, you'll see everyone on the other team react. Sometimes you'll see 5 guys look at 1 guy. So that's the other purpose to be up there, but you got to do something with it. And where our blunder was is that we didn't. And that's that was the error.
Yeah, the window is small.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, this looks like a similar play call, except now we're just doing it with Colt.
Correct. This is kind of the other side of that of, all right, we just did it in their heads. They did it. It didn't work. In my head, I know, well, it very well could work. This time it does work. We just make some other errors. Yeah.
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 When this setup, you get a good setup, you get the Archie Billy setup on the snake, but when you lose Archie, that's what allows Rainey to do what he does on this one, because now there's no Overwatch.
Yeah, well, we didn't get into the Overwatch, right? So that's kind of how it all went down. But I think at this point, Tyler, I believe is on the snake, still doesn't know Colt's there. I believe is how it goes down. So Tyler produced, so Colt just shot Tyler there.
And then he shoots another. He shoots JC.
Yeah, shoots another guy right after it. Yeah. So this, it played off. It's like sometimes going right back to something that is unconventional would be more. And this is where Archie just reaches, a little bit over the top there. This point's won. It's over. Yep. We've killed the whole snake side. We're two out on this long barreling snake. All we need is to stay alive for just long enough to contain. We do everything wrong in this point. If Colt's on his feet as he is right here, he sees Rainey. Rainey doesn't go super low, but he comes back down. He's already produced 2 kills on this side of the field. He can play tall, but he and Colt had a great point. But if he's tall there, Rainey's dead, Billy's alive.
Right.
Matt, I forget where Fuzzy's at, but there's also he also I thought was out of position. So this was a point that that's one that we very well could have gotten back. And even this here is just a little over misplayed at the end there, where I think we just started to reach. We were still in an okay. If we would have sent one of those guys instead of 2, we're still okay.
I think
to play off all the chaos.
Yeah, I think the other key component was Laval recognized what happened. Rainey goes, Laval shifts from that Dorito side can into the home, and I'm not sure anyone picked up on it. Yeah.
So it's a tough one, but that's a point. That's a 1 point. You're on this field, 2 kills off the snake side. You got 2 guys on the snake. You also have the field balanced. You got 5 bodies alive. That's the score of this match right now. Not going to the point one before that you could say we should have won or we could have won. This is now not could have. We should have won this point if we just played it at a okay level. And this match is now 2-1 as opposed to 3-0.
Right. This is what Ryan and I were talking before you joined us. Impact out X Factor at X Factor on that point.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Rainey's so slippery. Like,
yes.
You just got to know where he is all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. If you don't know where Rainey is, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Because that means he's sliding around. He's slipping around somewhere.
Slithering. Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing something he's not supposed to be doing. But no one else would probably be doing.
Yeah. This next one is a 3-minute point, right?
Yes. And so we have the 5-on-5 breakout here. Trying to recall, is Archie the first one to drop again, maybe on the bounce shot?
I believe so.
I believe so.
So we're in that can in our game plan that we don't really want to be in. And we're still putting ourselves in that situation, and I think that's just, sometimes you can't do that. And, you'd have to ask, maybe there's a purpose or a reason he can't get out and they didn't want to go there. But, he's the first to die again. And puts us in a 5-on-4.
Impact's posturing here is very clock kill.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you're not seeing Justin trying to fighting. He's on the cross. Tyler's on, just kind of being Overwatch. You end up picking up Brandon Cornell here. I think he tries to improve position, and I'm not sure it was necessary, but I don't know, because he's in that Dorito corner. I think obviously the coffin nail is the penalty here. But
yes. So yeah, I think Fuzzy catches Brandon overextending. I think this is one that, we can't. It's not time to blow it yet, but you're kind of starting to ask yourself the question: if your guys aren't doing things to win the point, do you have to? Fuzzy going to an unconventional spot made sense to produce a kill, but he also has to recognize here that the body we lost is Archie, and so he's got to be playing with Billy, and now he's shaded. Look, that's 4 guys looking left. Meter now a little bit inside, but it's too far away to protect. We get a little fortunate here to kind of even make this a bit of a game with at least this being where Matt turns, hears the ref to hit to shoot JC, but that was, again, what we did the point before of leaving Billy alone to get bunkered clean.
Justin, I felt like Justin Cornell's trade was smart. It was incredibly ballsy, but it was smart because once again, it leaves the snake to them.
Yeah. So now we're in a 3-on-3. Fuzzy's in an okay spot. It's really uncomfortable to kind of protect a little bit, but now we have to play fast on the other side. So that's what he's yelling at Meter, that, hey, you guys got to go win it. There's 2 of you, 1 of me. I'm in a bad spot. You got to go win it. So that's where you see Meter kind of overextending here. And he gets clipped on, I think, Nick stepping out. Meter thought he shot Nick at the same time. Maybe he bounced him, maybe he didn't, whatever. But the penalty there is for Meter saying, get him out. And the point that happens, it's like holding in football. It shouldn't happen in the rules. Talking, signaling, it's like, hey, like him, get him out. But the quickness that was thrown, it's the ref is enforcing the rules. It's just one of those that isn't always enforced. I wish it was enforced more consistently, but I'm not gonna.
I wish it wasn't like
or at all or one of the other.
Yeah. Like if a guy walks out. Yeah, like I get if you're pointing at somebody, you know what I mean? Like if you're pointing, okay, call your penalty. But if you walk out and you're like, get him out.
Yeah. I think what they got him for is the signaling. And in certain instances, there was that, what was the ESPN field, a couple, this one last year, the finals where people would dive over to your side of the field and guys would point and they were consistent throwing it because you were pointing at a guy that nobody knew had advanced to your side of the field.
Right.
But
that's different. Yeah.
Meter,
that penalty. I'm good with it.
Meter pointing at Nick there, hey, get that guy out. Yes, it's a point. It's against the rules. He shouldn't do it. It doesn't absolve him, but it is kind of like you see that happen a lot at that point in the finals. It hurt. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah,
we broke the rules, but it hurt. Yeah.
And also at that time in that point, everybody knows where everybody is.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's where I wish the refs would take a deep breath. Right, they want them to have more autonomy, right, and kind of allow them to think, be critical thinkers. Like that's a moment. Take a breath here. Is this penalty really? Is it important right now? Did he give away a player? No. Yeah. There was no information shared that was new.
Right. Yeah. Plus, you can't even see him pointing anyway. He's on the outside of the brick.
Yeah. I will say, I think for the most part this year, the refs have done a pretty damn good job.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, way less than last year when I saw just lots of like overly aggressive calls that were being made in fractions of moments. Instead of now, I do feel like the most of the time, except there's one ref on the Dorito side. That's not him. There's another guy in the middle over there. He likes to make really fast, aggressive calls that are wrong a lot. But he's it. Like, he's the only one. I know his number. I'm not going to say it in case he's watching because he might penalize me.
I like all the refs. I think they're all absolutely wonderful people.
They're the best.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. And so right here, 4-0, I'm doing the thing that we're all telling our players. Please go win 1 point with tempo, but you got to win the point, right? It's very difficult for the players to understand this. Our odds are better. It's more likely for us to win points once we're under 90 seconds. When they do go into complete cross-up, they'd win points with this much time on the clock, where you're going just crazy because they don't have to. They're not going to go into full lockdown yet. So you'll see, that we go just a little bit too hard, just a little bit. If we just slow up and at this point, look, we got to win 4 points on a slow field, so I'm not going to fault our guys for doing this, but you still got to do what you got to do to win the point if it's going to cost you an extra 5 seconds. Yeah. And that's why we don't win this point. This is another one that it should be a gimme, but we just go a little too fast.
You start the point off right. I do want to make a comment. So a lot of you divisional coaches, listen up. So right now, if you're doing the math, you're realizing that X Factor has to basically win 4 points in 48 seconds each just to tie, right? But you don't if you listen to what Ryan just said, it's not about it. It doesn't have to be 48 seconds, all 48 seconds. It doesn't, right? You make an excellent point there. You shoot JC off the break, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that was with Ninos and Colt both shooting.
Yeah.
And Silos goes really deep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Silos goes deep. And of course, Colt's shooting that cross shot that he learned from Drew Bell. Tempted humor. Bear with me. Come on. It's having some fun if we can't laugh.
So this is a situation you can't lose this point. This is we have this second time here. 2 guys alive in the snake. They got none. All right. Yeah. This is a point that you have to win. And yes, you have to win it as fast as you can, but you still have to win the point.
That's right.
This is,
Billy's about to go Super Saiyan aggression right here.
Yeah. So just a little bit too much.
And then here's the thing: if he doesn't draw the penalty, you probably you still have, because didn't he get pulled? Doesn't he pull a minor, which gets?
I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if he doesn't pull the gun there, if he doesn't get the penalty, I still think you win the point.
Yeah, and so it's just one of those. So it's again, we likely would have, if we would have played it right, we would have had 3 points to make up with 2 minutes and let's just call it 220 probably.
220.
It's going to take us a little bit longer to win that point correctly.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But we're starting to get into, been done before territory. When right now we're more or less outside of that.
Yeah. At this point, what? So now it's going to be what, 5 to zip with what, under 230 left on a field that is limiting on options for specific thing. They know where you want to go at this point. You basically have 2-3 options on an aggressive play, and all they have to do is get the 5 bodies out. So, it's a serious uphill battle at this point. But you guys answer, though. You answer well here.
Yeah. At this point, I'm no longer telling them just go, watch the time. It's just, hey, just go at them. So it's like, but this is how it goes. People start to really stop. They're not trying to win the point here. They're just trying to sustain. Right. And that's your opportunity a lot of times to kind of get the quick points.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And you can tell they certainly didn't want any penalties, because the slightest, they were all coming off in droves. Mr. Robert,
so
getting the buzzer.
All right. So now, if that point only took, 20, 25, 30 seconds, so if we would have put the other one on the board like we're supposed to, it's 4-2. And
it was,
it's
37 seconds.
So the lesson is don't squander the free ones. When you got them when you have it won, you got to win it.
Man, that was the story of us at this event.
Yeah.
We had several up body situations that we squandered. So I feel your pain.
So is Billy sitting on this one?
I gassed out at this point. Yeah. So I think he may.
I love that run up to their side, up to the 50 rather, in that wrap on that side.
Mm-hmm.
That's a blind spot, which you obviously identified during practice. It's a blind spot if you run it right, or they run it wrong. So,
and we finally got our guns hot at the tail end of this game, but it would have been better to do it the other way around.
right.
So
You had a good close here, though, because I think you end up closing it here with 105 left. No, even more.
yeah.
So, yeah, 107. So that was what, a 30-second point?
Yeah, and if that 1 point there, we would have taken another
then
5
it would be
seconds
4
to
to
do
3.
4
Yeah.
to 3. And it's discipline. It's having discipline when everything in your body's telling you that you can't win with discipline. To be undisciplined, you gotta throw it to and just throw caution to the wind, but you still gotta have discipline in those moments.
100%. The man who never gives
Now
up.
we have no chance to win.
Yep.
But we would have had a chance to win.
And that is hard to, like, when you have guys who are more disciplined, to tell them to be reckless, right? Because they don't, that's totally against their nature.
Great point. Great point. So the minute 7 on the clock. It's 5-2.
And we're just really having to press it at this point. So the Magic's run out a little bit, and it's kind of all she wrote.
Yeah. You can't blame Colt at that point for launching it. If he had another 30 seconds on the clock, he could have let it melt a bit. But
and I looked at my guys, and they put their heart in it at that point. I was like, I'm gonna let it run out. At that point, it's like not worth anyone getting injured. And it's kind of respect to them. Let them enjoy their moment. They played respect to us. They didn't go and
they didn't hit the buzzer. Right.
Correct. And so it was just that was all she wrote there. Yeah.
Valiant effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great match. I mean, like I said, I really felt like you guys were going to win the tournament. Like, I thought your off the break shooting and how hard you guys were to shoot off the break was going to just pay dividends going into this match. So
yeah, we left points on the table. Can't do it. Can't win a tournament doing it, and that's the formula. You got to steal a few. And you got to win the ones that you're supposed to win. And that's where the difference is at the top. Everyone's good, so.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the difference in this match is they just made significantly less mistakes. That's it.
Well,
that's
something we talk about
very
all
few.
the time. Yeah. We talk about that all the time on the show, and the fact that at this level, the first mistake is usually what costs you. So.
Yeah. Well, really exciting for you guys to be kind of in the position you're in on the upswing going into the World Cup, right? Going into an opportunity to get double points. You're back in the top tier where I think everybody believes San Antonio X Factor should be. But the league is so hard right now, right? You have FSU coming in, playing really well the last few events. Obviously Paintball Fit is playing outstanding, right? Really at the top of the league, it's a rough one. Like, it's rough up there.
Yeah.
When Houston Heat is in 7, Tampa Bay Damage 8, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those are the surprises, right? Those guys down there. That's not a season going how they intended by any means.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and again, you guys started rough, right? You come out of the gate with a 10th place finish, but have just consistently gotten better and better and better as the season's gone on, and looked much more connected and clean. I love it, and I say this all the time. I love it when you guys play higher tempo. When you guys play high tempo games is when I think San Antonio X Factor is the most dangerous. I think you guys, obviously with TJ and Fuzzy playing, I know they love the slow game, and they're really, really good at it. Yeah. They're really good at it, but also they play really well high tempo.
What gets us in trouble is the guys. They're very good at pulling stuff back, right? But it's probabilities. You're not going to pull them all back, right? And just because you can pull games back at a higher frequency than maybe the majority of the league, you're not giving yourself the amount of time on the clock to just beat people, right? And we know it. And so we get in some of these we've done a lot of matches where we pulled back, points like, how we beat the Russians and stuff where we pull back points that we should lose and wind up winning the match, right? So we've done it enough. And so their nature tells them it's like, hey, there's a way for me to still win this. The problem is, and especially when you're playing maybe a team that maybe not as experienced or not highly as ranked as you or just simply not as good as you, is that you get in that mindset of trying to pull it back and you just don't do it. You don't beat the odds that time. Well, now you're tied and there's 3 minutes left and anything can happen. And that's why, that's what we're trying to fight. We've had a lot of these, but it is difficult because it's like they are so good at pulling stuff back, but it's like that's how we know the matches we've lost against teams that we should not lose to. That's how we always lose. Is playing low tempo, playing an 8-minute point.
Totally glad you said it because we were talking about this at the beginning of the show, maybe even in the green room. It is my opinion based on the scores of all of your preliminary games.
Yes.
That you guys leave 4 to 5 spots placing spots, ranking spots on the table almost every event because you guys come out so low ranked. You come into Sunday and play the wild card or the next game, and because your margin is so low, or you let a team that shouldn't beat you because you only played 5 points on a field where you should probably play 11. Right. Your margin is so tight that if you get knocked out in any of those rounds, you fall all the way to the bottom. You end up 7th or 8th place instead of 5th, 6th place. Instead of 5th, right? Yeah. So like, if I go back and do the math, like other than even at the first event, like if you guys play more points, I think you're, especially against the teams that you are significantly better than, which I shouldn't say significantly anymore because the league just doesn't work that way, but better than, right? You increase probability and opportunity for placement throughout the year, right? So like, again, at the last event, we knew even if we lost that match, we're still 5th and that Paintball Fit was going to be 7th or 8th. We knew we were going to move above them even if we lost that match, right? Mm-hmm. So, and again, like I don't want to say we play that game, but one of the reasons we want to play so many points is because of that. We feel like if we play more points, we have higher probability to win those matches and at a bigger point spread, right? And I think a lot of teams should, like you guys and Impact, if Impact played high tempo, I think they'd be incredibly dangerous. Dangerous because they have so many guys that are really good at that. Yeah. Brandon and JC and Tyler for sure. They're so good high tempo. And every guy on your team is good at that. Yeah.
It's I go back to that finals match too, and like that first point going 7.5 minutes. Mm-hmm. If that's a 2-minute point and we lose, I feel like it was the clock constraints that kind of forced us into some of these things that we would have probably just played more points, and I think we may have gotten in the better flow because in that match can be completely different. But it's like getting in that 8-minute point, win or lose, is not necessarily. And it's hard to say. It's like that was a lockdown point. If we would have tried to play it faster than we did, we probably, I didn't see a giant hole of a move that should have been made. Right?
There wasn't.
And so it wasn't there. But it's like, take a page out of the Russian book every once in a while, and it's like they might lose it, but
But look at every other layout we've played, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want to focus on this layout because we don't get 2-dimensional layouts very often. Where literally you have 2 places you can attack from, and by the way, within 5 seconds of the breakout, there's going to be 2 guns that go across, and now you can't attack through either one of those either, right? like every other layout we've played though has had multiple dimensions, like alleys and pathways throughout the field that you could play in all these different spots at a pretty high tempo. You know, if you set up your attack correctly, where you had some tempo in the order in which you were going to attack, they've all had that kind of place where you could play a little higher tempo. I think a lot of teams have chosen now to play really slow, right? And I get it for like the Seattle Uprisings. I totally get it. The Sea Dogs, I get it. Your guys aren't as experienced. You want to slow the games down so that you can process all the information, get up your communicate. I totally get it. But the experienced teams, it seems like you're putting yourself almost at a disadvantage when you play those teams to play slow tempo. Does that make sense? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Appreciate the quality.
Like when we play you guys in heat, like we know those are going to be slower games. Like our points are going to be longer. We know.
Yeah.
Because you guys are really, really disciplined, very good through the lanes. You're going to counter well. We know that. Like they're going to be longer points. But we also know when we play teams that aren't as disciplined and aren't as talented, we're going to play as many points as we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're Kirill, and then you're just going to fucking stand there and let the clock completely run.
Dang it.
We almost made it the whole show, and I didn't throw one.
Yeah.
No, you had two others. Did
I? Why are you
I've got
counting?
3 marks down.
What, I got a cuss
We have a
jar now?
square jar, Ryan Brand.
Oh, do you? I like it.
No,
I'm loaded
we
now.
don't.
Ryan
We don't have a swear jar.
gives me candy bars, and Snickers, and Gatorades all the time.
I'm an adult. You're going to have to do something else with that swear jar. Let's talk really quickly about your World Cup bracket, and then we're going to let you go to bed.
Yeah.
Good with that?
Okay. I am great with that.
Cool. So, you, Baltimore Arsenal, Ironman, Aftermath, and the Lucky 15s. How you feel about that pool?
I mean, all the teams are good. You know, I do think that, we, based on positioning and who I believe we are, I think we are the best team of the bunch. But I don't look at any of those and say those are gimme games on any of them, right? I think the Luckies will probably be the most complete team coming over, breakout included, in my opinion, just because they're not going to have Chris. Skinny, if he's there, it's at the very least they'll have a marginal amount of Skinny. So I think the Luckies will be the best team coming over as a new team. They play it with their own guys, their own coaches, no American help. At this point in the halfway through the career, I mean, they had Marcelo coaching before that, but so that's a tough game. And they have experience playing over here in the U.S. They've come every year, I believe. Maybe they didn't come last year. I'm not sure, but this will be at least their 3rd time over.
They didn't come last year.
Yeah, so that'll be a game. The Ironmen it's one of those where they have the talent. They just haven't. They were kind of a mess last event. I thought they didn't have Paxton there. I think Mike and Shane together is better than one or the other. They're very different, and I think they can use each other's help. So you just don't know. I hope Mike will be there because I love Mike. And going after that, so we have Arsenal and Aftermath. Yeah, I mean Aftermath. Some of that talent is there. It's like as a team, they're not putting it together well, but the talent, they have some guys out there that can play. So
keep in mind they lose Greeny, who's playing with Lucky 15s, and Jim McGowan, who really kind of
coaching
did the coaching stuff at the last event. I mean, they had Victor was there, but like I know during our match, I never even saw Victor.
Yeah, he might have had a heat issue or something. Might have a health something go on, I believe. But I think we have to win that game. We should win that game, but I don't take them lightly. It's like I just think we got to do what we do to win that game. And then Arsenal is they're a good team. They just are. I mean, it's same thing, but I think they are the other team that has proven that can make a run. If I look at that bracket and I say there's one team other than us that could be in the semifinals and beyond, it would be Arsenal. So I think that's, where it is. Good players.
I think the lucky
good-
15s may surprise.
And they could. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked, if especially to see them on Sunday. I think they're very capable. But I look at Arsenal. I think Cody Mikowski's playing the best ball he's played in a very long time.
Agreed.
I think having Spica as another mind to help with Chris Jansen. And the thing about Chris is a very good coach at his own right. But Chris likes to bounce. He likes to nerd out and take input. And I think that's a good little fit. That's a good player / coach person to have in his toolkit. And Cody's the same way. I think Chris is doing a good job getting that information and using it. And I think me personally, I have a great assistant coach in Dixon Yang, but I think if I had so much input, I don't want to say I'm set in my ways, but it's kind of like I have been doing it for a long time. I know what I'm doing. And I feel like Chris he's still very open, to taking it, and he's doing a good job with it. So I think their team is good. O'Mara is, it's someone that he's a difference maker. They have a few of them. Weaver is solid. So I think Arsenal is a good paintball team.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I love what you said about Chris too, and taking all of the information and feedback from the players. I think there's right now in the league, there's 5 or 6 different coaching methodologies, right? Where you have guys like you who are a little more I kind of know what I want and what I'm looking for, and I'm just going to sell it to the guys, right? Where they understand why we need to do these things. And then you have like Chris, where he probably sits down, says, hey, here's my general idea. And then, the guys kind of chop it up. He takes all that feedback and then kind of cleans up the plan. And then I think you have really more of a Dave. Dave is even different. I think he probably does both, right? I think he takes all their feedback, puts together, but then really Dave kind of is doing what Dave wants to do, right? I can hear players sometimes in the pit really think that, and he's like, yeah, just do this. So it's I hear you, but we're going to do this, right? So I think there's a lot of different ways to do this right, and I think Chris is doing it right. I think you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I think, the styles are good, right?
Yeah, different styles, and it's the players you have too, and it's one of those things. I don't want to say I'm an old dog and I can't learn new tricks at this point, but I've also I have kind of a system, and it's kind of where my comfort zone is, and where I do get better is being aware of that, of hey, I need to get better, I need to improve, so letting those things in and being able to adapt, right? But it is hard to go, the different styles and go completely outside of it, because I've had, the feedback of hey, if we had 3 set plays, the guys would know everything, they'd be better. And I'm like, I can make 3, but when the match starts going, it's really hard for me to start calling them, but I'll make them, but it's just, to me, it's
they'll be in there.
Because when I'm coaching, what I want is the other coach to have 3 plays and rotate.
Right.
That's
right.
I'm all I'm doing is trying to find their 3 and then finding out how to break them.
We mostly have 3 to 5 plays. That's kind of what we do.
Well,
we have 3 to 5 plays that we just try to run really well.
Right. You still have to stop it. You still have to
but
stop.
You also have 5 guys. Your 3 plays look very different because the read and react of your players. It'd be very hard to say that this or Kirill might be doing the same play 11 different ways.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly. And they're all that way. Yeah. All of them.
Yeah.
Right. So if we have 3, it may look like a whole bunch of different ones based on the box read. Yeah. It may, their pathways may change multiple times just based on what they see off the box.
Yeah. And I love that, Ryan Brand, I love that you said, coaches have to be adaptable. It's absolutely, coming from the Hurricanes to Dynasty, right? I consider myself an old dog, maybe not an old dog in the professional division, but I consider myself an old dog. And I'm certainly learning new tricks with Dynasty, right? So it's a fascinating phenomenon from a coaching perspective. And I love Ryan Gray's breakdown there, right? There are several different styles out there, or how people manage expectations, how they deliver information, how they, present themselves to the team. It's fascinating stuff. So, but whatever you're doing it very well, sir.
I'm trying to, yeah. I mean, I think the one thing we all know, it's very clear that this game changes, right? So
Absolutely.
we don't change along with it. That is where you try to stranglehold and then you fall behind, you become obsolete. And I think some of the coaches that I think struggle right now is because they are still trying to play the same game, the same system, same stuff over and over again.
Totally.
Where you can really elevate, and you're not always able to accomplish this in your career, but someone I used to look to that did this is like Rusty Glaze of finding out ways and strategies and understandings and ethos to the game that actually change the game, the meta of how that game is played. Right.
Totally.
And Rusty did that a couple of times. And then I think there's a couple of things I've done throughout my tenure of, coaching, over, 12, 14 seasons. I don't know at this point, 15 seasons, that I've done it a couple of times. But there's many times I haven't, and I've had to learn from others, and stuff like that, and being open to that. So, but it is, I think, where you get the edge as a coach is finding the next level of it, and how Impact changed the game at one point. Dynasties changed the game multiple times. The Russians changed the game 2 years ago. That's where you get your little edge.
Changed it in 2005, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We were like, is that kid running and shooting to the snake and still shooting people? What is happening right now?
Yeah.
So that's when you get your edge.
Dusty Court. We're all learning our way through it and trying to be ahead of the curve. Very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it when I first started coaching, there were no coaches, right? There were maybe 5 of us out of the 12 teams back then that had coaches. And now you have teams that have full staffs of coaches, right? Like a stat guy, an assistant coach, a head coach, there's all of, it's like you have all of these different roles that are being filled now. And I love it, of course, because I think that, in my opinion, that kind of thing is what is going to elevate and change the meta and change the way that all of this works, is by one, continuing to bring really smart people in and keeping the ones that we have for as long as possible and getting to soak all of that knowledge and information up before they go away. You're a descendant coaching wise from a, pretty amazing coach that you had the blessing of being able to hang out with, for a while. And Mike had that same benefit, I got to coach against him for a while. And, I felt like at that time, like Alexander from the Red Legion and him were kind of like, those guys were the guys, right? Like you wanted to know what they know as fast as possible. And it's just like, but that's not how it works, right? You have to fail a whole lot of times, right? And you have to make so many mistakes before you kind of figure it out and evolve. But dude, I'm the nice guy on the Russians.
Yeah.
I'm the nice coach. Like I have to be the guy that walks up to the guys like, hey man, you're doing great. You good? All right, cool. Hey, everything good at home? Like, wife's good, kids are good. Okay, great. Yeah. Get out there and get, like, now I'm slowly changing the culture a little bit. I don't know if you guys have seen it in our pit. We actually, some of the guys smiled at the last event. I know. Smiled, right? J-Rab came in one game and coach actually gave him an attaboy. And I was like, holy shit. Like this is different, right? This is different. Yeah. Like, I get it. These guys are paid well. They're professionals, right? But if somebody does something extraordinary, can we give that guy a pat on the ass, please? Can we say nice job? That was completely outside of the realm of what you're supposed to do, but that was awesome. Anyway, it's a fun game, man. And being able to do it the way we're doing it from the coaching side of it is, in my opinion, just incredibly special.
Yeah. It's fun.
Well said.
It's fun. Yeah, we get to be a part of all these guys' lives. It's funny, I still, look at guys like Colt, right, as one of my players, right?
Yeah,
one of my guys. So sometimes TJ the same way, and Meter sometimes,
Yeah.
it's like all
They
those guys.
start to sprawl on you a little bit, So I got players on mini teams now, and it's like, oh wow, like that's kind of, I want that guy still to do well,
Yes.
I honestly, all of them, even if they made a
Totally.
decision I didn't agree with to leave, I still, want them to do well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Love it.
All right, my friend, you ready to go to bed?
Yes. Not fight me on that.
Yeah. You want to think about it for a second? No,
I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good. Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you both for what you guys do. This is great. I'm sure it's very
Love your
helpful to a lot of
insights.
people.
Absolutely, dude. We need to do it more.
All right. Yeah. Anytime. I'm here.
Talk soon, pal.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Man, that was awesome. I love that kind of insight, especially when a coach comes on here and says, yeah, this is what we're thinking. This is why we were thinking this way. Right. And, Mr. Brand, you guys could start the Ryan and Ryan show, and I would tune in every day. So that's kind of one of those things where, you look at that, you talk about those different types of levels of coaches, and Mr. Brand's one of those ones that probably because we came from a lot of the same, the same school technically, but he just, right now he's doing it way better than I am. Ryan's
one of the best, man.
He is.
He works his ass off for it,
100%.
Works really hard, very humble. And humble, but also really understands and knows he's really good at what he does, and he deserves kind of the accolades. And again, he fills both of those roles kind of as not only the coach, but also the architect of the team.
Right.
When he becomes that sort of general manager, in the off season, and they're trying to put pieces together, that's all Ryan.
Yep.
He handles and manages all of that, and he's put together a great team.
And I love the positivity, right? Even during watching that match and reviewing that match, you could tell that, okay, yeah, we made these mistakes, but and we recognize this, but he always had a positive to it. There was a positive aspect.
Yeah.
I think that's vitally important.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Thank you guys all for joining us on episode 88 of the Coaches Show. This episode is brought to you by Maxt Sportswear. Get with Charles. By the way, brand new pack. He's making packs now. Just saw it this weekend. It's pretty rad. So check out his Instagram and Facebook. It will be on, I would think within the week, you will see the pack. We're going to get a really cool video that he's going to send us, which we'll show you guys prior to World Cup. So check out maxsportswear.com. Also, BKI. Be with the smart kids. Don't be dumb. Just join. You don't have to use Coach Show. Just join. Yep. Get the information. Thank you to Major League Paintball.
Coach Show.
You can. Yeah. Thank you to Major League Paintball, Major League Paintball Plus, Tom Cole, Kevin Fillers, and Darren Sesesno. And I'm Ryan Gray from Mike Bianca. As always, be responsible.